is Norma Rodriguez Reyes, and you are now listening to WNHH 103.5 FM, streaming live via the NewHavenIndependent.org and LaVozRadioTV.com. Live in our studio audience, we have today Patty Newton Foster, and she is from the Newton Foster Home Care and also from the Danae Certified Nurses Aid Training Center here in the Hill section of New Haven. She's a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks, where many of our listeners, I am sure you can relate to. She got her GED after starting her own company 6 years. That's when she then ended up, which means that you don't really have to have, a doctorate, a master's or a bachelor's to own your own and business and be a successful person at it. She was born in Bridgeport. She moved to New Haven when she married her late husband, Sam Foster, and she's a member of the Dixwell Congregational Church, which is the oldest African American church, which has a lot of educated and really believed in education. And many of the folks that may be listening to us remember the late Reverend Edmonds. He was basically almost like the pastor for a long time, and he was very instrumental in helping all of his parishioners go up the socioeconomic status because he opened doors for them. He was on the Board of Education. He was the chairman of the New Haven Board of Education. So she comes from people that have definitely mentored her very well. We also have in our studio audience Lauren Hidalgo, and basically she was born in New York. And she came to New Haven at the age of 15 years old. And she has, she's a medical assistant. She's a secretary. And she's the one who basically is the office manager. And she schedules the different employees for the different blocks. You're going to have an opportunity to first learn more about this. And I want to take this opportunity and thank you both for being here with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Patty, tell me, okay, you said that you grew up in Bridgeport. Yes. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing in Bridgeport. Are you, and what number daughter you are, and that interesting stuff.
Growing up in Bridgeport, I was born in 1959, and I have 4 brothers, and I was the only girl. So being raised in Bridgeport with 4 boys, 4 brothers was not that easy. Because
what number are you in the?
I am number 3.
So you're the middle one.
I'm the middle one.
2 boys.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm number 4 because I have the baby brother. So there's 3 brothers older than I, and then myself, and then my baby brother. And so they I was really overprotected by my brothers, me and the only sister. And I must say we are all 1 year apart. So we are just like in the same generation. When you have siblings and you're all in one age group, so to speak, as opposed to one being 20 years older than you, it kind of like the generation is a little different. But when you're in the same generation, we like the same music, we went to the same schools, that type of thing. So with my 4 brothers, we're very, very close. Very
That's
close.
Wonderful.
Very
yes.
Close.
And I know your brother was a state representative in Bridgeport.
Right. Ernie Newton was a state senator and also a state representative, who I must say, when he was doing his politics, he did a lot for Bridgeport. He really, I can say, he did a lot for Bridgeport. And I'm proud of, what he has done, when he was doing good. We all make mistakes, and, we have the second chance now. So everybody deserves a second chance, and it's from the government on down. So I'm not making light of it, but I'm just saying that we have to learn from our mistakes, and I believe he has. And he's my brother, and whether he was any type of politician or not a type of politician, he's still my brother.
Yeah, I see that a lot of politicians of that era, of African Americans and Latinos, had a tough time because they did not come from a political family.
Right.
They went to the School of Hard Knocks, like you mentioned. Absolutely. And life was not easy for them to even become elected officials because it wasn't fashionable
Exactly.
for African Americans or Latinos to be elected officials.
Yes.
So they've worked really, really hard. Did you grow up in a single family home in the projects?
I did. I grew up in a single family home where my mom and my dad was not together. My father lived in Norwalk. But I tell you, being the only girl with the 4 boys, I was a daddy's girl. And my dad happened to die when I was like 8 years old. And he was of the Army. I remember going to this cemetery when they did the gun salute. I'm over 50 years old. That is in my brain. I still remember that. But so yeah, we were on the welfare. My mom. Then when my dad died, we were on Social Security or something. And but so yeah, mom had actually a drinking problem, and I did a lot of the cooking and cleaning for my brothers. And my husband was very thankful for that because I could cook very well. But yeah, I did grow up in a single family. But one thing that I said that I would not be a product of welfare. I've never in my life received a welfare check. I went to work at the age 16 when I had my son. I had my son at a very young age. Wanted my son at that age. It's a whole story there. But yes, I did not. When I seen friends of mine having babies, more babies, just to get a raise from welfare, I said I could not live like that. Welfare cannot pay me enough money to stay home and the ideal thing was back then is to keep us in our community. Give them raises when they have baby. Give them more money. And I said, no, I cannot be a product of that. And I realized at a younger age that that's the only reason is to keep us in our community. Don't come downtown and get a job. Stay in your community. So, you know, you're poor. You're just going to stay there. And I vowed to never, ever be that person. So like I said, I went to work. Had my son at 75 at 17 years old. And I went to work, and I've been working ever
Now, was
since.
your son born in Bridgeport?
My son was born in Bridgeport,
Uh-huh.
a product of a shooting when he was 8 years old. He was shot in both his leg, going down the street, stray people shooting at each other. Thank God. My son is very tall. He works for the company. I have 3 generations. I have my granddaughter who just graduated from Adelphi in New York, who works in the office. I have my son who's been with the business forever, and myself. That's 3 generations in Newton Foster. So I'm proud to have a son and a granddaughter that want to be a part of the business. Yeah.
So Patty, tell me, okay, you grew up in a single family household, but at first I was asking if you really grew up in a one family household. I mean,
no,
not a single.
No one family house. I never lived in the projects, but I lived in the east end of Bridgeport, and it was a four family unit, where 4 families lived there, and then we moved around a lot, but we never ever had a single family unit, never.
Okay, so now you have this growing up. Now you have a baby at the age of 16.
I get pregnant at 16. I have him at 17.
At the age of 17, and then what brings you to New Haven?
Well, let me just back up a little. After having this kid and learning the streets of Bridgeport and, you know, hanging out and doing all that scene, I met someone and I moved to California. I took my son, and then I left California and moved to New York. And then I was like, you know, it's not for me. I'm going to go back to Connecticut. And that's where I decided that I wanted to start a career. And I didn't want the street life. And then I met my husband, Sam, in New Haven. And that's what brought me to New Haven. And that's when we decided we were going to be together. And after a year and a half, we were married. And I just decided, you know, I said, you know, I want to be a nurse's aide. And he says, well, I'll make sure I find you a school. And he did. He found me this training. I took the 3-month training.
Where was this?
It was in Bridgeport. And I tell you, my husband was so good that he worked at City Hall for many years. And then on the side, he was a mason, and they had a club. So he was a permittee. So he would make sure that a cab would pick me up at the train station and bring me to where he was. So he was so instrumental on me taking the CNA program. This was in 1990 something. I don't remember the date. But I took that training, and I'm telling you, 3 years after taking the training, working for a home care agency, working at Yale Hospital, and working for home care agencies, I came home one day and said, honey, I want to start my own company. And he says, and I'm with you 100%. So I took my CNA license through Private Industry Council back years ago, and I decided that I would start a company. So 3 years later, being a nurse's aide, CNA, which I am today, I started my own company.
What was a defining moment in your life that made you say you're not going to work for anybody else, you're going to start your own business?
To be honest with you, I would go into the office to get my check. And every time I go into the office, it just seemed to have drama. They talk to you like you're just nothing. And you're out there working for this company. And I loved the clients. I loved my patients. But when it came to the office to go in there, they just could care less about you. The attitudes that they gave me, I said, that's it. I'm going to start my own company and try my best to treat my employees with respect and let them know, yes, you might be on the medical field, the nurse's aide, because there's the nursing and the therapy and the doctors, the therapists and the doctors. Even though you might be the low pole, you are the main person for that client, because you know that client, they see the client once a week or once a month. You see the client every day. So that client, you're feeding the client, you're touching the client, you're loving on the client, you're cleaning their house, you're going grocery shopping for them. You know their favorite color, you know everything about their children, because this is what you talk about all day. So some family members don't know as much as the aides know about these seniors.
Okay, so when you say CNA, what does CNA mean?
Certified Nurses Aide, or Certified Nursing Assistant.
Yes. Okay, we're going to come right back. We're going to take a quick station break.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Que Pasa, your host Norma Rodriguez Reyes, and you're hearing us via the WNHH 103.5 FM and via streaming live via newhavenindependent.org and lavoradiotv.com. We have with us Patty Newton Foster, and she's of the Newton Foster Home Care and the Danae Certified Nurses Aid Training Center, which is here in the hill section of New Haven, Connecticut. We also have with us Lauren Hidalgo, who is the office manager for these two programs. We were talking, Patty was telling us about what was life like and why she decided to start her own company. And we mentioned that CNA means Certified Nurses Aide. Okay, and she said that the defining moment for her to start her own business was every time she used to go to the office, okay? She didn't really feel welcome. She didn't feel that her job was really appreciated. Although her clients, she knew very, very well and really trusted and believed in them because she saw them on a daily basis. Yet the office was not very appealing, and one day she just decided she had it and she wants to start her own business. Okay, Patty.
Yes.
So you decide you're going to start your own business. Tell us, how did you decide to start your own business? How did you start it, and where did your resources come from?
Okay, actually, I went to Doc Edmonds, and I was telling him that I wanted to start my own company, and I just started speaking to different people, and I said, okay, if I want to start this company, I need to learn what the company does. So I actually went to a couple of orientations and the businesses that I was interested in, like home care. So I went to a couple of home care agencies and, said, I'm interested in working for your company. And as I sat there to go through the orientation process before you can get hired for a company, I learned everything that needed to be given out to that new person coming in on a job. I went to several agencies and just looked at their operation. Not saying too much of anything, but you need, whatever, if someone else is doing it, and you're not reinventing the wheel, you need to surround yourself with what needs to be done to make it happen. Then I contact the state of Connecticut. I spoke with my husband. He was a major part of putting all the pieces together. So the first thing you have to do is get a bank account, a business checking account, and that way you get your tax ID number. and then you get your tax ID number to get the banking account, and then you register yourself with the city, and you register yourself with the state. You make your trade name, and there you start. And then being in the business, being around the hospital and the convalescent homes, then you just, you learn the part as far as the office is concerned, for your human resources, what each employee needs to have before they start working, what do you need to put in their files. The state requires a lot of things, a physical, a PPD, 2 types of ID, making sure that they're citizens, and just the whole 9 yards that you have to do to make sure in-service, orientation, all of this type of stuff for their employee file. And then you work on your finances, and I was able to borrow money from family and friends.
Okay,
And
so did you ever go to a bank or a lending institution?
every single one that was denied.
Why am I not surprised?
Well, because they don't want to. They say they want to help startups, but they don't want to help startups at all. They build their banks on, we're going to help the small people start a business. If a bank is, listen to this. If you don't have no money, the bank's not lending you any. They want people who have money to lend to. So it's
And
just
perfect credit.
And perfect credit. So I didn't have that. But I tell you a quick story with Dr. Bernie Siegel, who's written a whole bunch of books. Read the article of a New Haven Register, and he called me and said, I want to help you. He was my lending source. And when he met me at his bank in Woodbridge, I won't call the name, and he said, I want you to give her this $20,000. If she doesn't pay you, I'll pay you. They was like, oh no, she's being denied because her credit's no good. He turned to me and said, Patty, I'm gonna call my brokers in New York, and we're gonna meet, and I'm gonna give you $20,000 for your business and $20,000 for your personal, so you can clean up your credit, and therefore you never have to worry about borrowing any money from anybody. And if you need to borrow some money, your credit would be perfect. So that was my start, out the clear blue, with a New Haven Register article that was done on a nurse's aide starting her own company.
And what year was this?
That was in 1996. 1996.
When it wasn't fashionable
No.
for African American women to own their own business.
Not at all. Not at all. And that's why he called me from Woodbridge. He was a Yale doctor. He's very, very famous. Dr. Bernie Siegel, Peace, Love, and Healing. He's written so many books.
Wow.
And he read that article, and I thank him today. And, financially, I can't help him. But as far as doing things for him, we're best of friends. I go out to his house. I may walk his dog. I may sit with his wife. I've been to so many book signings that he's had. So he became my best friend. And it wasn't about money anymore. It was about what can I do for you to help you for being in my corner.
I think that definitely is a defining moment in your life in terms of being able to nowadays we need more Bernie Siegels in our lives.
Yes, we do.
Every African American startup business and Latino business and like all the new immigrants that are coming in that are starting businesses, that's what they need. They need someone that believes in you, that they see that you want to start something, that you want to be on your own, you don't want to be on the welfare rolls, because who really wants to be on the welfare rolls? Nobody does. And I'm sure that if people gave people opportunities, if the people who gave opportunities to the people that really want to do something, they want to start their own business, they want to help out, I really think that our community would be much better for it.
Yes. Well, we have the DECDs now and the CEDFs, and I find
what is that?
That those are supposed to be lending institutions for small minority businesses, for Hispanics and Afro-Americans. And you have to really get out there and look, because there are some fundings out there, but sometimes I feel like if you're not in, you're not in. And a lot of times when a lot of people get in these positions, they help a lot of people that they want to help, and not the people who really come to them and really need the help, that are creating jobs. I kid you not. At the end of the year in the Hill of New Haven, I put out 150, close to 200 W-2s every single year. That means that I have employed that many people in our community, and I'm employing the people that a lot of people would not even give a job to. So I'm helping my community by giving them training and giving them a job. A lot of them from welfare that don't want welfare. They want to be, and if you want to be a nurse's aide, that means that you're a special breed. That means that you can't learn that in school.
Yeah.
That you want to take care. You have the heart to want to wash a client. Everybody can't do that. They can't put a diaper on a senior because, you know, they say once an adult, twice a child, meaning that when you're a child, you go up to be an adult, and then when you get older, you revert back to being a child, back in diapers, back can't take care of yourself. And that's where our company come in at. And I find and I know doing this business for over 20 years that these people, we are special because we are here to take care. That's a God-given talent.
Yes.
To want to be able to wash a client and feed them, those who can't feed themselves.
Yes. Wow. That's wonderful. Okay, Lauren, tell me a little bit about you in terms of what you do for the company and, you know, where does your passion come from?
Well, I've been doing paperwork ever since I graduated school. I worked for a lawyer for 4 years. Paper is my passion. So that's what I do. I do all the paperwork for this company. I do the schedule, which is everything's based off the schedule. All the clients, where they live, what their services are, who to reach in case of an emergency, the daughters, their hours of service, who fills in when someone calls out. That's my job. I get the aides the job. I send them out there. When they need days off, I fill in another aide, and that's pretty much how that goes. I also I orientate them. I get them ready to get out there in the fields. I go over, you know, our policies and procedures and what do you have to do with the aid and all the essentials they need to know about our timesheets and our billing and stuff of that matters. That's my role in the office. And, you know, I try to, you know, make sure that I get people that fit the aid.
Yes.
You know, so or should I say aides that fit the client? You know,
Yes.
some people want a person that's older that can cook, or you know, just someone older, not a young person. So I try to accommodate the client as well as the aide, and you know, or try to keep them in keep the aide that we get in the area they need to be in, because a lot of these aides don't have cars. You know, so you know, this is a way they're coming up. So, you know, we try to get them jobs in their area or wherever they need to be. I try to get them.
Okay. So now, do you are the aids already made or do you make these aids?
Both. Some come with their certificate and their state license, and those are only just for the nurses' aides. For the homemaking and companion, you don't need any experience at all. Yep. And we want, you know, Afro-American people taking care of Afro-American clients. We want Jamaican clients taking care of, you know, have an aide, because it has a lot to do with the culture. We want somebody Hispanic taking care of somebody Spanish speaking, because it comes with the culture of cooking their food. You know how to cook their food. You speak their language. So we try to match the client up with the right aid, and that's what Lauren is real good at. You know, she'll make sure, you know, okay, you Spanish speaking, okay, you don't have a job, come on over here, let me give you this job because this job just came through. So, you know, by her being Hispanic and me being Afro-American, it's like we're a team. We're a team.
You know, it's very interesting that you should say that, but let me tell you a little bit. I'm a little older than you guys are, and I graduated as a nurse's aide from Richard C. Lee High School. Back in the day, they used to have that program. So I graduated. So I worked at the Jewish Home for the Aged.
Yes.
Yeah.
I worked at the Connecticut Mental Health. And then I also worked when I graduated from, when I was here during the summertime from UConn, because I was a nursing student at UConn, I would go and work for this private home care agency. And back in the day, it's like, very few, the program did not exist to be able to provide services for African Americans or Latinos, elderly.
That's right.
They couldn't afford it. So it was a service that only the people that had money could afford. So I remember, you know, since I had my training, I went to work. So they would send me, and back in the day, it was all mainstream. It was all the Anglo clients who could afford this kind of service. So it was like in Whitney Avenue. They would send me to all these really nice neighborhoods. You know, I come from the Hill, you know, very poor neighborhood. So they would send me to these really beautiful places, okay? And see, they didn't want blacks and they didn't want Hispanics.
No.
those were not the nurses aid that they wanted. They wanted, their mainstream. But see, I was lucky enough that I blended. So I, since I didn't have an accent and I was light enough, they would never even think that I was Puerto Rican. But I remember one day they called, because they sent me as if I was not a nurse's aide, but the home health aide. I knew nothing about cooking. So they asked me to make them some dumplings. I've never even heard of what dumplings was. I called up the office. I said, they want me to make dumplings. I don't know. So over the phone, okay, they're giving me the directions on, all the stuff that I needed to do to make dumplings. And I'm over there and praying, please, Lord, help these dumplings.
Let them be good.
Yeah. And everything would always come out right. They would send me. But it's very interesting that it was always, the Anglo clients didn't want Hispanics and they didn't want African Americans. And like you said, that's just cultural. At that age, I usually can't tolerate prejudice from, young people because you feel that they should know better. The elderly, that's just kind of the way they've been.
Yes.
It's not that we should tolerate it, but you got to just kind of understand it is what it is,
I tell you, in my career, starting as a nurse's aide, and you talk about the rich, I don't know if it was God, but I know that I have had clients in Greenwich and Bellhaven, where Martha Moxley lived, and the Kennedys. I've been in there. Then one of my clients over at Evergreen Woods, God rest her soul, was a professional horseback rider. And we would go to Greenwich twice a week, I'm telling you, to her friend's house to play bridge. And they had the maids live there. And so that's the generation that I was put into, which was the filthy, filthy, filthy rich. And I tell you, you're going to find some clients that revert back to where it was slavery, and you were called that little colored girl. and I tell my aides, today in New Haven, and in Hamden, we're in Fairfield County and New Haven County because I opened up a branch in Bridgeport, the training center and the agency. And you're going to find clients that are going to revert back to when they were younger and it was slavery because that's where they came from. And I'm talking about the people that are 80, 90 years old. Do not get upset because they go back to that, because they're going to go back to that. You can't help that. And you got to put on your professional face and not get upset because this client thinks that you're a slave or this client thinks that you work,
housemaid.
You're a housemaid. Yeah, exactly. And I tell them, please do not get, if you feel like you can't handle it, then I need to take you out and I'll put somebody else in there because but like you said, this is 2016. Now somebody that's 20, 30 years old that's talking that slavery stuff, we're not going to have that. Right. It's not happening. But somebody that's 80, 90 years old, transitioning back, you cannot get upset with them because they feel like you're the slave or you're the house person and you need to clean the ceilings and things like that.
Okay, so tell me, what is it that someone needs to do in order to be a part of your organization?
Well, for employment, they need to come in and fill out an application. And like I said, we do a background check on everyone because I'm sending you into the homes. And if you have a larceny and robbery, well, it's not going to happen not unless it's like 10 years old. We just decided with the second chance that we're going to break it down to 5 years. So if it was 10 years, if you didn't do it, if you don't have a larceny within 5 years, then we are willing to give you an opportunity. And we don't discriminate. We need every race of person that want to be in that field. Now, if you have your home health aid certificate or your CNA license, you can come and work for our company. If you don't have it and now the homemaking and companion is no personal care. You cannot touch that patient. See, when you go to training, they teach you how to transfer the client from the bed to the wheelchair. They teach you how to feed the client. They teach you how to properly wash the client. And meaning that there's 2 washcloths, 2 towels, and you change your water after you wash the top of the body. They teach you about all the signs and symptoms that you need to look at, about Alzheimer's and dementia and all that stuff.
So the other part of that's where the other school, the Dene Certified Nurses Aid training come in?
Yeah, that's where they come in.
Okay, now how much does that cost and how long does it take?
Okay, Dene's Training Center is located here in New Haven and the Hill as well as in Bridgeport. The training is licensed by Higher Education and the Department of Public Health. And the state of Connecticut requires 100 hours. So it's 3 weeks, Monday through Friday, 3 weeks from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the fourth week is at a convalescent home where you actually do hands-on with the client. That's 3 days from 7 in the morning to 3 in the evening. So that's 3 weeks and 3 days. It costs $1,000, which is the lowest training monies anywhere. Everyone else is more higher than the NACE training. Out of that $1,000, we pay for your state exam. That's $110. We buy you a set of books with pen, pencil, highlighter, and notepad, which is about, I think, $150. And we buy you a uniform. So you get those 3 things out of that $1,000. And Connecticut Works pays for it. And OIC, and also...
Now, when you say Connecticut Works, the Connecticut Works will pay for that $1,000?
Connecticut Works will pay for the $1,000 for them to take the training.
If you're on state.
If you're on
If
state.
you're on state, yeah.
Okay.
Or a dislocated worker.
Yep.
Yes, or on unemployment. So and they have a good process that they have to go through, a long process, you know. But I just say that if they want the training, it is sometimes it's fun. We can get somebody to fund it for them.
So you will assist, and if
Absolutely.
you see that the individual is definitely serious and is a good candidate,
Yes.
you would help them find the funding
Absolutely.
for it. I
Yes.
think that's
Yes.
wonderful. We're going to take a quick station break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to Que Pasa, your host Norma Rodriguez Reyes. You're listening to WNHH 103.5 FM, and it's being streamed live via the NewHavenIndependent.org and La Voz Radio TV.com. And we have live in our studio audience Patty Newton Foster and Loren Hidalgo. We've been talking about the Patty Newton Foster Home Care Services and the Danae Certified Nurses Aid Training Center. So Patty is in the business of training certified nurses aides, and she was just mentioning that individuals that are definitely interested in being a certified nurses aide, they can definitely come to see her, and if she sees that you're the appropriate candidate, she will assist, because it costs $1,000, and there's all kinds of different programs that may be able to help you, and especially if you're on a social service program, you're on welfare, or if you're unemployed, those are definitely candidates for the certified nurses aid training.
Right. They won't pay for your training if you have a job. If you don't have a job, or they call dislocated workers that are collecting unemployment, they will definitely assist you in paying for it. It's right there on the Alaguaso Boulevard, right over where Adult Ed is, but the building in the back. That's where they would go over and apply, and then they will ask for different documents. I've heard that it's a pretty long process, but it's worth the process if they're going to give you training monies that's going to make your life better. Because once you complete this CNA training, then you go on to be an LPN, a licensed practical nurse, or then you just forget that piece, which I say forget the LPN piece, and go straight to be a registered nurse. These jobs are $80,000-$90,000 to start.
Oh yeah, and usually a lot of hospitals are
They're
looking for nurses.
all the time. All the time is in demand. Nursing field, this home care business, it's like a grocery store. Everybody's going to need care, so it will never go out of style. It will never go out of style. So it's the best field you can ever get in. And I want to go back to the people that need a job. They can come to Newton Foster, which is at 92 Arch Street in New Haven, right on the corner of Congress and Arch. It's a 2-family house. We've been there for over 20 years offering the service. And we accept applications on Mondays between 10 and 3. And they would need to come with a physical and a PPD.
What's a PPD?
It's a skin test
tuberculosis
for
test.
Oh, for tuberculosis.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, and if they're from the islands and they've been, they have something that just only thing they have to do is get the X-ray.
Chest X-ray.
Chest X-ray, yeah, because we have to protect our clients that you're going in to take care, that you're healthy and fit to take care of these clients. So that's why we require the physical and the PPD. You do an application, you sign a background release form, and we do a background check on you because I'm sending you again in to take care of seniors. And I need to make sure that your record is somewhat clean that you are not going to go in and take from my clients. We will prosecute them to the fullest if they did something like that.
How long does the process usually take?
For them to work for us, 1 day.
1 day.
If they came in with the proper documents, we would, and if not, then they can have it within a week. They just have to go to the doctors and get that. We do the background checks right there on the computer, and then they fill out the application. And sometimes people come in for a job, they bring this information, and they leave out with the job. Okay, that's for the people with the CNA license and the home health aide certificate. You can not have that you do not have to have a license or a certificate to work for us. There's homemaking and companion, and you need nothing but TLC, tender loving care, to take care of these clients. So you don't need to have anything or any degree or any license.
So, and then what about that other program in which someone who wants to become a certified nurse's aide, how long does that process usually take?
Once you complete your program, my program is 3 weeks and 3 days. Once you complete that, we pay for your state exam. The state is a little slow, but within a week or two, you would get a testing date. And then if you pick the location, you get to pick what location you want to take the testing in through Prometric, and you go take your